The agency owner who's making 30K a month has more resources to try new marketing experiments than the guys who are doing 100K and 200K a month. But most operators get this exactly backwards. And I don't blame them because it sounds insane. More revenue, more resources, more team members, so you should have more time to try new things, right? Wrong. And I've seen this across all my clients who are doing from 20K to all the way 200K a month. So stick with me because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why trying to scale your agency or any service-based business is quietly killing your ability to build the one asset that could have made everything much easier. And most importantly, what to do about it before it's too late. The line number one is I'll start when I'm bigger. Every agency owner I've talked to has some version of this plan. I'll start doing content once I hit 20K a month. Once I have 50K a month, I'll have enough margin to invest in more marketing. At 50K a month, I'll finally have that bandwidth. It sounds reasonable, it sounds responsible because you're focused, you're building the stuff you want to build and you're not distracted by the shiny objects. You're going to do the right things once you get there. But here's the problem. That logic is built on one assumption that falls apart the moment you start really scaling. That assumption is that revenue and free time scale together. That as you make more money, you get more of both. And that's not how it works. And this leads to something that almost nobody is talking about. Here's what actually happens when you scale an agency, and I talk from experience of working with multiple business owners at multiple stages, all the way from 10K to 100K and 200K a month. At 10K a month, you have, let's say, 2 or 3 clients. You do most of the work yourself. Our calendar has holes in it. For example, we have Tuesday night where you have full afternoon, full evening free. So you'll have time to think about new different things. And that's usually the time when you have a lot of different ideas and a lot of shiny objects in your way. But let's say you're 20 or 30K a month, if hired already like 2 people. So now you're like managing the work instead of doing it yourself, which turns out to be different, but equally as consuming as doing the work itself. And that's the time when you're usually the most busy or you're just starting to get some of that time free because of how much work you're delegating. But once you hit 50 or 60K a month, you're not running a service business anymore. You're running staffing and operations that happens to deliver a service. So every new client adds new coordination problems. Every new hire adds a layer of management overhead. And you're most often the bottleneck in everything. That's the time when your business cannot really survive without you. Although you have the team handling the service for you, but if you just stop working for a month, it might go out of business. So you see more revenue you have, there's less time for you as an agency owner to think of new experiments. So this is the capacity paradox. And it's the reason so many operators who tell themselves they'll build something once they reach a certain milestone, they never eventually do it. Because by the time they get there, they have even less space than when they started. Which brings me to a conversation that I had recently that illustrated this perfectly. So I was on a call with a young SMMA owner who was doing around 20K a month. He was a smart guy. He already was hustling a lot. They had like 9 clients or something. So a little bit smaller ticket size, but still they were doing around 10 to 20K a month, which is so good for a 20-year-old guy. And he had this plan. Once I got to 30, 50K, I'll have enough profit and time to invest in content. Right now, I just need to focus on cold calling and running the business. What was interesting is that I've been working with a client who's doing 100K a month already, and he built his business the traditional way with paid ads, with cold outreach, referrals, networking. So he had the same plan, same promise to himself. He already got 200K a month, and once he got bigger, he was busier than he'd ever been because he was scaling so fast. He needed to onboard new clients every week, so he was too busy to even film content once a week. So more clients meant more delivery time needed from him. He needed to hire more people. So there will always be something that will be on your way to actually start doing content. So I asked him when's the next time he'll be able to film. And he told me that he literally don't know because he's so much stuff to do. And maybe when the things calm down, I have more time to film. So there is this weird paradox where people who are doing 10 to 20K a month, they're hustling to get to 50 or 100K a month. They wait for the perfect moment to start with content, start with ads, whatever. And once they hit 100K a month, they're so busy, they cannot really try these things that they wanted to try in the first place. So the version of you at 100K a month is not going to be sitting at a beach with a clear calendar to start every day, because you're going to need to be strategic. Maybe you'll have a week every 3 months to go on a vacation, fine, but still your business will not run without you. You'll not have more time to film content and stuff like that. So this brings us to the actual problem that's underneath all of it. The marketing bet that gets harder to make as you scale. Here's what I mean by a marketing bet. At 20K a month, if you spend 5 hours a week or even an hour a week on a new acquisition channel, the downside is manageable. You're not overwhelmed yet. You can find time for doing things that you know you should be doing. So you can afford to experiment, even though maybe you're not making 100K a month, but you still have maybe 1K, 2K to invest into newer things rather than spending everything on the one channel that might get destroyed. And at 60K a month, those 5 hours are actually less likely to happen. So the guy who's doing 50K a month is less likely to make that bet than the guy who's at 20K a month. You're pulling time out of delivery, fulfillment, retention of your clients, even though it would move the needle more. The window to make that bet is actually earlier than you think. Not when things are stable, not when the business is bigger. Now, while you still have the capacity paradox working in your favor instead of against you. And if you're thinking, okay, but what is that bet exactly? Here's where I tell you what I've been dancing around. The thing that every agency owner says they will do when they get bigger is a YouTube channel. Not a podcast, not a newsletter, not a LinkedIn presence. YouTube specifically, because YouTube is the only platform where if you have 1,000 subscribers on your channel with the right content strategy, can generate for you qualified sales calls from the best possible leads that you can ever imagine in the world. Because when someone books a call after watching 3 of your YouTube videos, the close rate is different. The call length is different. The objections are different. They're not vetting you. They already trust you and they are just deciding if they vibe with you or not. That's what YouTube channel does to your business. Not views, not subscribers, just qualified calls with pre-sold buyers. And here's the thing about building it at 100K a month. You can't. Unless you really have everything very well structured and you're free to do whatever the fuck you want at 100K. But usually from my experience, multiple guys doing 100K a month, the thing is, they don't really have that much freedom as you might be thinking. Not because of the money, because they have money, but because of the time, because of that capacity paradox. Because by the time you're at 100K, you're the last person in your business who should be sitting down to figure out a new content strategy for your new YouTube channel. By this point, even if you start, you're gonna still get very discouraged by how slow it gets. So right now, if you're at 10, 30K a month, range, it's probably the best range to even get started with this, because you have enough time to film content. You don't have that many clients to fulfill, so you can afford to make this bet realistically. So this leads directly to the most important part of this video. Here's what actually separates the guys who actually build a YouTube channel, build new acquisition channels, than the ones who perpetually delay it. The ones who actually build it and are successful with it, they don't treat it as a personal project. They just treat it as a business system. They don't wait for X clients to be on their roster. They don't need like huge profit margin. They do the thing by systemizing it. That means the research is done for you. The topics are validated before you even film them. The scripting is handled. The editing is handled. The distribution is handled. The only thing you do as CEO of your company is just show up to the camera, film, and that's it. You don't get more time. You just build systems around your schedule to find the time for it. And the operator who figures this out at 20 or 30K a month builds an asset that's compounding all the way down to the time when they hit 100K a month. And once they hit 100K a month, they already have that asset that's working for them. It took them some time, but it always takes time. So if you start at 100K, you're just gonna get discouraged by how slow it gets, and you're probably never gonna actually build it. So look, I'm not trying to tell you the content or new acquisition channels is the answer to everything. So I cannot really tell you what's the best thing for you, but I know that cold outreach works, paid ads work, referrals work. There's a specific window early in your scaling journey where the cost of building a new acquisition channels that's compounding over time is the lowest that it will ever be. When you have just enough time during your week and just enough revenue to actually invest in it, but that window closes. So if you're still in this window, take it seriously. So if you want to understand how I actually build it for my clients, how I handle the scripting, the ideation, how I validate the topics, and how I create content strategies for my clients to actually work based on the data that we collect during the process, feel free to book a free consultation call with me. But once again, this is only for you if you're at that specific window between 20 to 50K a month. That's the first link in the description. We'll look exactly at your current offer, your acquisition channels, how much time it would actually take you to get where you want to be with your YouTube channel, where it actually generates qualified calls for your core offer, so you're not over reliant on just one acquisition channel. And if you came this far, I'm sure you'd like to understand in more detail how I actually do it. So if you're not ready for the call yet, feel free to watch this video that you see on the screen right now, and I'll see you over there.